From WBAY TV, coverage you can count on. Action 2 News at noon starts now.
And we begin with breaking news in Dodge County and a search right now for 3 teenagers, perhaps in an abandoned mine. Sheriff's Office expected to hold a news conference, expected to start at any moment. We're going to try and take you there too. 16-year-old Zachary Heron, 16-year-old Tate Rose, and 15-year-old Samuel Lean reported missing late last night. Their bicycles found off the road not far from the Netta mine in the town of Hubbard, that mine owned by UW-Milwaukee. These are some new photos we are getting today of the search scene, the search area. UW-Milwaukee says it's possible the teens got inside that mine, although all entrances are closed. The wooded terrain and the old mine tunnels have been making this search difficult. And that news conference, when it begins, we'll take you to it. Here we go. It is going on now. Let's go to that live news conference with the latest.
Madison and Appleton Fire Departments with their heavy rescue team, who are trained specifically for the work in the mine conditions that we're going into. We also have a number of resources from the DNR, from UW-Milwaukee, who owns the mines, and a number of other resources here to help us out. We have a lot of volunteers that have already been in contact with us, and at this time we would like to let everybody know that we do not need any additional volunteer assistance, but we do thank you for that assistance. If we do need some assistance with that, we'll reach out to you and ask at that time. There has been some information that went out on Facebook. I would like to put that to an end. There will not be any type of a public search allowed in this area. It is a very hazardous area, and it is something that we want to have the professionals in there under our control, so that we can make sure that no further damage occurs in the area. We don't want any. If there is an unstable mine, we don't want anything like that to be disturbed. So we're asking, again, everybody stay clear of the area. That includes the media. We ask that you stay out of the area, because if we do have reports of people going in towards the mines, we have to divert resources over to clear that area to keep everybody safe. If anybody does have any tips or information that it could assist us in locating these 3 boys, we have opened a hotline. That number is 920-386-4060. You can give any information that you may have, any resources that you feel might be able to help us out. You can go to that hotline and it will be screened appropriately, and we'll get those resources used as we see appropriate.
All right, again, what we're hearing right now, those boys are still missing. 3 teenage boys, possibly they thought in an abandoned mine or in a mine tunnel in Dodge County. The search going on, they're telling you they don't need any people coming up to be volunteers, though. Also disputing some Facebook information that's been going out saying this is not a public search. They don't want the public there helping. They've got enough volunteers as they continue to look, also releasing that hotline number. We will continue to follow this story. Emily Matesic, our reporter, is there. We'll keep you posted on air and online here on Action 2 News.
From WBAY TV, coverage you can count on. Action 2 News at 5 starts now.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. It is the breaking news we first told you about at 4 o'clock. Our cameras were there when searchers found 3 missing teenagers in Dodge County.
The sheriff says those boys got lost in an abandoned mine and they had to huddle together for warmth to get through some chilly overnight temperatures. This happened in Iron Ridge, about 45-minute drive south of Fond du Lac. Emily Matesic has been following this story all day long and explains how those boys were found alive.
The path behind me is where we watched those 3 teens walk out of the wooded area, escorted by firefighters, paramedics, and other searchers. They were loaded into ambulances after what we can only assume was a very harrowing experience. Tate Rose, Zachary Heron, and Samuel Lean looked tired and dirty as their 21-plus hours lost in the Netta mine came to an end. Rescuers say the teens were found several hundred yards into the mine after going in yesterday around 3 o'clock to explore. They went into the mines, they went in a little bit farther, they got lost, turned around, and as a result they were not able to find that same entrance that they went into. And slept in the caves overnight. Dozens of searchers from various police and fire departments from across the state participated in the search for the teens. It was a team of searchers from the Milwaukee Fire Department that found the 3.
They said that once they got to a point where their lights ran out, they just kind of hunkered down in the dark and tried to catch some sleep. So they looked very relieved that see some people.
The mines where the boys were exploring is private property. The sheriff said as of right now, he's not thinking about filing any charges against the three for trespassing, but hopes their ordeal is a lesson to others.
I really want to stress to everybody, please do not go to these mines. They're very dangerous. We're fortunate we were able to find these three teenagers when we did. It could have been a totally different outcome, and we're thankful it was not.
And so are community members like Josie Zilkowski, who was not afraid to express her gratitude the teens were found.
They got them? Oh, wow! Good. Oh, amen! Thank you!
Obviously a very elated community to know that these three teens will be home with their families tonight. Reporting in Dodge County, Emily Matesic, Action 2 News.
From WBAY TV, coverage you can count on. Action 2 News at 10 starts now.
Home safe. After spending more than 20 hours lost in a mine, our cameras caught 3 Dodge County teens walking out of the woods into waiting ambulances after being rescued by search crews today. Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. Those teenagers are safe after only having minor injuries after their ordeal overnight.
Tate Rose, Zachary Heron, and Samuel Line, all seen here, were reported missing after they didn't come home from a bike ride yesterday afternoon. Those teenagers were found in a mine near Iron Ridge. That's just south of Fond du Lac.
The Dodge County Sheriff says the boys decided to explore the mine and got lost. They spent the night huddled together for warmth in the 58-degree temperatures. The Sheriff says the mine is like a maze. Parts of it flooded with as much as 8 feet of water. A crew from the Milwaukee Fire Department's heavy urban rescue team found the 3 teens.
We kind of had a T intersection in the cave. One of our members went down one of the legs of the T, and you could just barely hear the boys shouting out for help. They had one light with them and one Bic lighter, and when those ran out, they were in the dark for an unknown amount of time. Their voices were very weak, so we shined some lights on them. They were sitting there, obviously happy to see the first rescuer, and like the chief or the sheriff had said, just some minor injuries, but otherwise in great condition.
Jason Zimmerman continues our coverage tonight as those teens are getting some much needed rest and their families are thanking first responders.
Just hours after the rescue, all 3 of the teenage boys were back home. We spoke to Iron Ridge Fire Chief Jason Bake just outside the house of Tate Rose. Bake is also a friend of the family.
The kids are in good spirits. They're exhausted. I can tell you the Rose family here, he's sleeping. He's a little bit sore, but we're trying to get him hydrated back up, and he's on the couch enjoying his family and company right now.
While none of the families wanted to speak on camera, they did issue a joint statement saying, quote, "We want to express our utmost gratitude for the countless emergency service workers who united together to bring our boys home safely. We will be forever grateful to each and every one of you for working tirelessly throughout the night and the heat of the day to do this. It was amazing to watch both the families and different organizations supporting each other and seamlessly putting a plan together," end quote. The boys told authorities they simply got lost while exploring the mine tunnels, which are on private property.
I can tell you that they had their cell phones and they ran their cell phone flashlights out of power, and then what they told me is they made a circle, came back to the original point, and they all huddled together and stayed there and slept and kind of were there for each other until they were found.
Reporting in Dodge County, Jason Zimmerman, Action 2 News.